The Messerschmitt Me262 was the first production jet aircraft. It was a dogfighter and a bomber, produced by the German company Messerschmitt during World War II. About the plane. The plane's length was 34 feet and 9 inches. The wingspan was 41 feet. The height was 11 feet and 6 inches. The wing area was 234 square feet. The empty weight was 8,400 pounds. The loaded weight was 15,720 pounds. It was a one-person crew. The power plant were two Junker Jumbo 004B-1 turbojets. The range was 652 miles. The max speed was 541 miles per hour. The service ceiling was 37,565 feet. The guns were four 4x30mm Mk-180 cannons, and it had one bomb and one rocket underneath each wing.
Whose idea was the jet engine, and how did it work?
At the German University of Göttingen, a young engineer named Hans von Ohain began development work on a turbojet engine. A brilliant student, Hans von Ohain was only 21 years old when he first conceived the idea of a jet engine.
He was a technician with an inquisitive mind. He was very good at theoretical problems, and he studied physics as well.
Encouraged by his professor, the young engineer began to build a working prototype.
He would have gone down the road of reading these. He wouldn't have copied it, but he would certainly have read it and interpreted it into the designs he was involved in.
As the clouds of war gathered on the horizon, the Nazi regime had become more determined than ever to develop faster forms of propulsion for its Luftwaffe.
Here is Franz von Ohain himself in this early clip demonstrating in a simple form to an officer how jet propulsion works.
A centrifugal type compressor. I use this to pull in air at the front and to compress it into combustion chambers like this, where the injection and burning of fuel heats and expands the air and gives it enough energy to drive a turbine which drives the compressor.
This design was to become the world's first fully working jet engine.
High velocity propelling jet.
The Messerschmitt Me262 was the fastest and newest state-of-the-art technology at the time. It'll have to undergo lots of engineering processes. Sometimes things would go badly or break easily during some of the flight tests of the first prototypes. Of the plane, it also needed a lot of maintenance, for the jet engines were pretty new and are not yet perfected. This is very difficult to work properly.
Before the Me262 existed, the German Luftwaffe had little protection against the regular air raids of thousands of bombers and their high-speed escorts, the P-51 Mustang. However, once the Messerschmitt Me262 was created, they were able to outrun and outmaneuver the high-speed escort P-51 Mustang, making the bombers easy prey. And since they went so fast, the bombers wouldn't see them in time to shoot them down. They also had such powerful guns they could take down a bomber on one pass. Also, after the Me262 came out, the air raids slowed down and almost halted because the attacks were happening so frequently they did not yet know how to fight the Me262. Once Hitler heard about the Messerschmitt Me262, he got really excited because this meant he could start building his dream of the Nazi regime of having the strongest air force, navy, army, and being the most dominant nation in the world. And this was technology that nobody else had at the time, which was something he wanted because then it would be better than everybody else's and every other nation's. What guns did the Me262 have? The Me262 had four 4x30mm Mk108 cannons. Here you can see them without the cover on, and you can see the shell chutes on the side. And up front you see the camera that was used to videotape all of the dogfights and surveillance.
Me262 Schwalbe jet fighters were the most advanced fighters introduced during World War II. The research that produced the first operational jet-powered combat aircraft in history began in fall 1938. In May 1943, top German leadership, including Adolf Hitler, Erhard Milch, and others, was introduced for the first time to this new machine. Although the test flight in Baravara in southern Germany was marred by mechanical failures, Hitler was nevertheless impressed. His enthusiasm would be misplaced. However, while this jet design was what Germany needed to counter the increasing threat from the new Allied fighters and bombers, Hitler demanded that the jet technology was to be used for bombers rather than fighters. The first operational Me262 jet fighters were deployed to France as early as April 1944. According to some, such as the German fighter Ace Adolf Galland, had the deployment numbers been greater, the Allies would have never achieved air superiority over the French coast. Thus, the Normandy invasion would have been much delayed or even averted. While this was merely counterfactual speculation, it was without a doubt that Hitler's meddling in this arena limited the German Air Force's capability. On the 18th of March 1945, 37 Me-262 jet fighters intercepted a force of 1,221 bombers and 632 escorting fighters. During the arrangement, the German jet fighters shot down 12 bombers and 1 fighter for the loss of far fewer. Although in a large picture they had only shot down 1% of the attacking Allied aircraft, these kinds of small-scale tactical victories gave the Germans a little moral boost at a time when it was badly needed.
Exploration. They were exploring new ways to power aircraft. Encounter. They encountered many problems on the path of development. Exchange. They were exchanging the old piston engine with new jet engines.